Hi guys! Alright, so back for another MBTI Bullies. Getting close to the end of the series and the start of something new, maybe? We'll see. So today we're going to talk about ICPs. And in relation to them being bullies or having the propensity to being bullies, I see it. Have I experienced it? I feel like I have experienced an ISTP bully as a child. It's hard to say because it's hard to type children. I don't think that I've experienced that with them as adults. So that's a little difficult for me to call, but can I say an ICP bully? Yes, I actually might see them as being the second type, top type that could be perceived as a bully right after ESTPs, maybe after ENTJs, not 100% sure. Because ICPs have the perfect temperament to be goons, literally to be goons. It's unlikely that they're going to be the brains of the situation, the masterminds of any sort of, bullying someone, whether it's online or in person or at school or whatnot. But when it comes to needing muscle and being the strong, silent type, I think you've got the perfect combination here. And it's because you're looking at introverted thinking, which is kind of like what I consider a certain type of a thinking process that's like logic oriented and not emotionally oriented or people oriented. And then it's being backed up with extroverted sensing, which is how they deal and process kind of like decision making process in the real world and the external world. So it's like they think about something that has an internal logic that makes sense to them, and then they reality test it by enacting it before they get any sort of approval or like moral ethics or anything like that they're going to put into their considerations. That's going to come later, with their introverted intuition or with their extroverted feeling. So it doesn't work in their ego stack. Particularly their ego stack is introverted thinking and then extroverted sensing. So with that being said, what are we thinking, what are we doing here? Quintessential ICP bully. I think of Matt Dillon's character in My Bodyguard. My Bodyguard, if you haven't seen, it's a 1980 film. And like Matt Dillon, he's the quintessential like asshole bully. Like it's more so like he's bullying this kid. The film was like an independent film, and Matt Dillon in it, oh my god, he's so cute. He's like 16 years old or something. Like all of the actors are like child actors, and you just see him being just like a merciless bully, that doesn't explain his thought process as much as he acts on it, because you understand that the thought process of an ICP is internal. So it's like they could actually be one of those bullies that like beats kids up and you don't even know why. It's like, why don't you like me? And they probably wouldn't even tell you. It's not like you're gonna get the verbal bullying. And in addition to that, because they have extroverted sensing right there, the type of bullying they would do would probably be physical. I could see them being verbal bullies as well, but because so much of their process in dealing with others is reality testing it with extroverted sensing, I could totally see them just, I don't talk, I'm about business. Business meaning the business of my fist, your face. That's like something that I can imagine ISTP bully talking about. If they're on the receiving end of bullying, I see them probably once again not dealing with the emotional element of it. Like I see them once again just engaging in a sort of sensory experience. So they might go out drinking, they might have a bar fight or something like that, or they might be working out, which would be a healthy outlet for both their anger and then also for um you know and then also using what they can of their inferior extroverted feeling to try and make amends and come to a kind of harmonious setting or a harmonious solution for their issues with people instead of jumping into the physical. And the physical can be very efficient, which is why I can totally understand why, less talk, more walk. You know what I mean? Less talk, more action. I feel like that would be the perfect motto for an ISTP. Um, I think that when you look at ICP females, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't done too much research on their type, but I think of Kirsten Stewart or Megan Fox. in that you look at them, they kind of look like girls you don't want to fuck with. You know what I mean? Like they look like girls that know their way around a lot of different types of, areas, like that they can be around the boys and not get steamrolled. So that's like, helpful definitely for females, I think, in any environment or arena. But definitely that the way they're going to learn is experiential. Like it's going to be through using their hands. And so I feel like in general on the receiving end, I don't see them being bullied very much, but it's still possible. But I can see them ending it. If they didn't start the fight, they can end it. And and for the ICPs, and I think that's like a good suggestion for them. But um, on the receiving end, I would say don't let them. It's easy to say don't let them bully you, but a motto I have that I think is really important and looking at is you need to meet people at their level. I've never been one to turn the other cheek or anything like that. Like, I want to be at your level. If you're at this sort of passive aggressive, arguing, whatever, I'm going to give that to you. I might give you some assertiveness. If you want to be aggressive, let's be aggressive. If you want to be violent, let's be violent, because ultimately people are so limited in the language that they use, whatever their respective language is, whether it's the language of violence or the language of sarcasm or the language of, manipulation, that it's kind of like they don't even understand any other language. But if you in your toolbox has all of those things, um, then you'll gain respect at the very least, and it could cut down on the bullying on the receiving end for yourself. Um, think less how you can do things your way, but how you can do things in an effective way that the other person will understand, and that will get your end result of reducing this sort of behavior towards yourself. Um, let's see, what else can I say about ICP bullies? Oh, yes. I always like to say something like positive. Um, because they lead with introverted thinking, they're very quick at being solution oriented. And also they're probably one of the most independent types and will let people kind of just, live as they want. I feel like their kind of thing is, if it doesn't bother me, I don't care. You know what I mean? At times it may or may not be welcoming, but I can live with that. You know what I mean? Like, I can live with that. I respect it. I respect that they're more about themselves and their objective, because to be honest, the more people focus on themselves, um, the less they're trying to control others. I think that's something that you wouldn't see from an ISTP. I think that if you ask them about their internal logic for why they did things, they'd have really good reasons, really good answers for why you know, they do the things that they do. They're also surprisingly have really good advice. They do. And they have really good tactical advice as well. You know, I would love to have an ICP in my corner. I don't know any personally right now. Um, but I would trust them to be someone to help show me things and to get me out of my shell to want to experience things. They have a strong hold on extroverted sensing, which is my inferior. And yeah, and they don't want to be held down. They don't want to be controlled. That's the worst thing you could do to an ICP. It's the worst thing you could do. They're all about their freedom. Um, Pretty much like their freedom is their measure of wealth. And I think that's just really cool and really interesting. So I think that's about it here. ISTPs, kind of the quintessential goons, strong and silent type. Um, I would think that out of most of the types, they understand the language of violence and they understand the language of aggression, which sounds hard and it sounds harsh, um, and it can be a bit heavy-handed. But in that way, I think the subtler types of aggression, like the subtler types of social manipulation and social ostracization, you wouldn't feel by their hands. And I think that they would think that something like that is beneath them, which would give them a very strong type of integrity. And I respect it. All right, Bunny. So that's it for ISTP Bullies. I'll be back hopefully next week with the last video of the series. And have a great day.